Hello, testing. Hello, everybody. I'm honoured to do this. I regard this as a long and lovely read. It's a wonderful book because it'll give you an insight into the struggles of people who create and who try to understand the world around them, and particularly because it's of women. I would like to make a little tribute to Marilla for her sheer doggedness, persistence, wit, and her actual, I'd say at times, anguish in doing it all, because it's very hard what she's done, and it's something very important to the whole body of Australian literature that these things be done, and that we understand the people who made this literature, and I compliment you for that very much, Marilla. The other thing about the book, I suggest that you read it, and I suggest that you arm yourself with a couple of bookmarks, one to mark the index, and when you read, go back to the index because it will deepen your knowledge. And also she has a section devoted to cameos. I highly recommend the cameos of the various people who appear in the book. Now, I'm glad you left in a little bit about Ruth Park, because it just shows that Dymphna and Florence, and then they were human beings, prone to feel irascible or a bit hurt or a bit upset. Well, that's us, that's how we are. I think when I describe it as a long and lovely read, it is, you just settle down with it and you become totally absorbed, and you can put it aside and come back the next day or whenever, and you want to go on. And also, this book is a prelude to what comes next. Marilla has told me it's called Come in Dymphna, and here you will embark upon the inside stories of very exciting lives, very interesting lives. I have read one long section published in Overland about Norman Freehill. I didn't know anything about the man except that he was very courtly, urbane sort of man, very pleasant human being. I didn't know that Packer knew that he was employing a communist. He did know, and he also said, yeah, and he's my best journalist. So it just goes to show you the contradictions you come across in life. I think Dymphna also, and Florence Jones, I was very touched at how they nurtured Miles. See, the friendship went on a long time, and Miles was getting older. Dymphna was born in 1902. Miles was born back in 1879. She had a lot of sadnesses in her life, and you know the story of my brilliant career, and my career goes bung, and all that swagger, and don't have been and all that. But it's very, very moving to me, the love they gave to Miles, buoyed her up when she was feeling depressed because she had a lot of problems, looking after her aged mother and so on. Always loved her and reassured her, and the very last thing that Dymphna wrote her before, just as she died, was that declaring her love for her, and they encouraged her. Of course, Miles, as Marilla has said, she meant it then, but it's a two-way thing, and I think this is very, very important in life. It's very important to creative people, because all of us, whether we write or poems or stories, paint or draw or compose music, we are prone to have this thing they call divine discontent. You're never happy with what you've created. You read it or listen to it or look at it and you sit down and think it's awful. But she was able to buoy them up and encourage them, and they did the same to her. It's the most touching thing in a way of how we should live our lives. I regard literature as a great humanising and a moral compass in human life. You read the great novels of the world and you absorb something from them, and you know this is how we have to live our lives. We have to strive to understand each other no matter where we are in this very troubled world, irrespective of colour, race or creed. My philosophy is accept people, have your own ethics. I've devised mine over a long life. Have your own ethics, but accept people. Just accept them. And when they know that you accept them, they're comfortable with you and you're open to exchange your ideas and your ethics and your views on life. And you influence each other, and that's a wonderful gift to have. And it's the way we should work our lives out. I feel very loyal towards Marilla. She's slightly extravagant at times, so don't take any notice of that. Slightly extravagant. I'll even go far and say sometimes excessively in her praise, but she knows what I mean. But she has this tremendous inner drive and she loves what she's doing, and she loved these people that she's written about and created for your delectable experience which you're going to have. Do read the book carefully and slowly. You'll learn a lot and it will change you. And I knew a lot of writers because I was just a Newcastle girl. I left school at 13 because my mother needed my help, a child of the Depression, very gauche. Sydney was a cultural shock when I went there in 1948. We had a room in a flat in Mosman of all places, and were glad to get it, but they hated steel workers, coal miners, waterside workers, people that my parents had brought us up to respect and look up to, and we did. Luckily I met other people who weren't like that, but it was a real cultural shock. The narrowness and the daily press, particularly the Telegraph, the Daily Smellograph, it played its part in attacking working class people and their struggles to better their lives. Having gone through pioneering this country, 2 wars and a Great Depression, in a place like Newcastle, which is very accepting, no matter what's going on, Newcastle people always get together and try to help people who are down on their luck. And I think this is what you'll get out of this book. I do recommend it to you. I hope you'll go down and buy a copy and wear Marilla's hand out getting an autograph. And I haven't said very much about Marilla because Anne has said a lot. And inside the back of the book there is a lovely little part about the author. I think, and there's some wonderful photographs. I commend it to you, and you will enjoy having a long yarn with yarn spinners. Thank you.
Before we end this session, Marilla just wants to read something out from her book.
It's the very last words that were written, as that Vera alluded to, just after she died, by Dinford Cusack, back to the spirit of Miles Franklin. It was sent, I found in the bottom of an archive box in the Melbourne University Library, in the Meandrin archives, where Clem Christensen, the then editor, didn't publish it for some incredible reason. So on page 418 is the last letter that Dinford wrote to the spirit of Miles Franklin. And I'll just read you the last few paragraphs to give you a sense of the incredible emotional bond that they had. I have to leave the game ahead of you, you wrote in that precious last letter, and then silence. The unfaith of those who have tasted death is terrible and strange, she quotes Miles' friend, the poet E. There can be no unfaith for one who has had the privilege to be your friend, Miles. For whatever I do, whatever I write, you are with me. In some strange way, you are more truly representative of the Australia I love than any symbol, official or unofficial. If I admit any influence on me as a writer, it is yours. My friendship with you was the catalyst that brought all my own experience, my emotions, my beliefs into new relations. Nothing basically has changed. It was given a new significance. You sometimes called me your literary daughter. I treasure that beyond anything, that precious compliment. I assert my faith against the unfaith of death. In your own words, a writer must have a pole to swing to. Your integrity was your pole. Your love of our country, your pole star. Make me your heir in both.
So, unfortunately, this session must close, but I'd like to thank first Vera for launching the book, and of course join me in thanking Marilla North for her wonderful publication, Young Spinners.
Oh, Marilla, you are extravagant.